I am Nasir Mahmood here. So I'll be conducting this webinar on Train the Online Trainer. And I hope that this information will be useful to you. And hopefully you can gain from it because of the current scenario. So every teacher, let's quickly start the webinar. I think I probably thought that it has not been casted yet. So let's quickly start and see the sequence of presentation. So I'll be first introducing myself and share with my experience on online education. Then I'll talk about the importance of education and worldwide trends in online education. So that the teachers must know how these, what are the trends and what we have to follow. So I'll be talking initially, briefing about the online education in general, and then I will also talk about the quality of the, so I'll be talking. Okay, sorry for the interruption, my mistake. I just unplugged the wire. I hope now you can listen to me. So I quickly go on, and I was sharing my experience, what all I have. So I've here you could see that I had started my online experience since 2013. And then because I used pen input for writing on the presentations, and I was inspired by the Khan Academy, where he used to write with the pen and explain the things. So at that moment, I luckily got the pen input from Blue Area, and I started delivering the lectures with pen input. So later on, I switched to iPad in 2015, and then keep improving my online education. And since 2018, now I'm doing the online classes. So I also done research. I did MS thesis and compared between the physical and the virtual classes. And then I was detailed for online education model for NUST by rector, and I worked for 1 semester and gave one good model for the NUST. And now we are starting, with the present scenario, I'm also conducting my virtual classes from the physical classroom. And I'm also conducting all my classes and virtual labs through this online scenario. Okay. So traditionally, if you see the importance of online education now, and earlier all the universities were basically switching to online education, but in the present scenario, there's no choice. Everybody is switching to that online education. So the main purpose of online education naturally is more people can be accessible, and it's very convenient for people to take classes. Okay, now with the online education, student can interact with the instructor online and enhance their learning experience, and that's the plus point. So naturally, what are the worldwide trends? Mostly, people, most of the top universities have gone on online education. And you could see all the courses, paid courses. It started from the free courses, then it went on the paid courses, right? And then the degree program. by the top universities. In the example, you can see EDX or Coursera, and they're offering now full-fledged degrees. Okay, there's a new trend that even the physical classes were going on. There was a trend of going online, and I will give you an example of UNSW, where students basically go. Students, have the full option to either go online or attend physically. People are, having this dual, but in the current scenario, we are left with only online education, which to me is the best option. Now the universities, like I will give you an example of ASU, Arizona State University, which is offering different courses like MS and PhD degree programs online. And the degree they give, they don't mention anything that it was the degree was done physically or online. It's basically a ASU degree. So there are new ways now on online learning and all that. So let's quickly understand what are the different modes of delivery, because in online education, this is really, really important that we must understand how to deliver the lectures. So in synchronous mode, basically, that's a real-time mode. Instructors and students, they interact physically, online. Like in the physical classroom also, we have real interactions, and we are basically synchronous mode. And the same thing is also possible through this virtual classroom, that you, in real time, you interact with the students and basically give the lecture, and the student can ask. And other examples could be teleclass, where you're sitting in one place or physically in one place, and you are delivering lecture at a remote place. Okay, and then another scenario, I will emphasize more on this virtual class, because here, this virtual class basically, to me, is the best option. And the scenario is like this, that an instructor is connected to a server, and the students are also connected to the server. And then they can interact in real time and conduct the class. So to me, this arrangement, if proper technologies and resources are available, they can interact in real time and even enjoy more facilities because of the technology. They can interact than the physical class. So let's move further. And another option is the webinar, where large audience in the listen mode, as we are doing now. Okay, so asynchronous mode is also very popular throughout the world, and the MOOC, MIT basically gave the concept of MOOCs, that is massive online, open online course, and they are taking, so this mode is in self-paced mode or asynchronous, where all the pre-recorded videos are there and they can listen to it, and this is also improving. But to me, the third model, which is hybrid model or blended model, is the best model, where we can take the advantages of both the systems. So hybrid is the best model, and you can see some of the examples here, some of the links here of the MOOCs, that is the asynchronous thing, and you can learn any knowledge, anything from any place. So there is no limitation of time or space. So these are some of the examples here. So what I'm proposing is basically a hybrid model, a real time, and then The advantage of this is that we have two-way communication through voice, message, and video conferencing. Actually, a video conference tool is used. The student can interact with the instructor face-to-face, and the qualities of teaching is enhanced than the physical class due to use of technology and new pedagogy methodologies. And I'll be sharing some of these methodologies with you at the end under the title Best Practices. Okay, so it's a very interactive model, and then the assignments and other assessments, small assessment can be done through LMS. And we have at NUST a very good LMS which supports everything. Naturally, the major exams can be done physically in the campus, and as the scenario improves, we can do that. So here is another slide which basically summarizes why synchronous is better than the asynchronous model, because that's the reason I'm for the synchronous model, and it has some limitation and challenges, but still it's the best because it can engage the students and the instructors in real time, right? And it basically gets a sense of community and connection and personal connection with students, get a personal connection with the instructor, and they can talk to each other. They can discuss during the class even new softwares. They can enable them to talk, making a groups, and they can talk very easily. So naturally, the advantage is live discussions and group discussions can be easily taken place through this scenario. Naturally, it was a very smooth transition because if you are going on the physical thing and then you're going online, so I feel there's no difference. You can easily make a transition from the physical class to the synchronous online class. Attendance management is better. Automatically, attendances can be taken. And then naturally, the bottom line is that students are engaged and focused, which is our major concern in education, that people are listening to you and are focused and engaged. So I'll quickly overview this and skip on this because this is the arrangement, I mean, for lecture recording or for a very top class scenario which I investigated during my studies. So here the requirement for going online is a camera, then you have a computer, and then you have a pen input. These are the important elements which is needed. So like you can use any device here, like pen input device. Vacuum is a company, Japanese company, which provide a quality pen inputs. And then you can use iPad or Surface Pro. Any pen input device can be used, which is hooked up to your laptop or computer. Okay, then then you need some streaming software or recorder. So, and then you can also use wireless mic and all that. So, and then the game starts that everything goes to a server. And then you could see that a lot of good and plus things are coming on the server, like all the editing, security, transcoding, and then all the analytics, that who watch your videos and all that. It's a very, very useful thing. There's a whole domain here which basically takes care of the analytics of the students, how they are learning. And there's a concept of active learning, which is ensured by different software. And actually, everything is connected to the LMS, and students can get all the information, all the lectures through one forum. Okay, this is the simple arrangement as I do these days. I connect my iPad to the computer, and then normally I do it on using different software. And I'm using Zoom, that is the best software these days to broadcast and engage the students, because it has a lot of facilities other than as compared to the other tools available. and then you can directly upload that video to the LMS. So this is the simple arrangement. So if I talk about the quality, that's an important aspect in online education. So there are different basically parameters, and there's an international quality requirements which are there. And if I just quickly overview this quality standards especially for online education. For example, course overview and introduction. So, I mean, later we can discuss these details that what kind of assessment and measurement can be done on online education. We have to really clearly specify the learning objectives, right? Courses defined and all the instruction material. So there's a complete guideline standards available to which we can compare and we can assess any online program. And I mean, earlier I have been involved in this quality standards, and we had made, with the help of HEC, Higher Education Commission, we worked for 1 year and we made a document that specify all the quality standards and even the implementation of those quality standards. So that will ensure that the online education, there's no compromise on quality. So you could see that takes care of learner support and everything, all the technologies and tools, they are easily embedded. And even this accessibility, which is not important in our area, but it's very important. Any seeker, any learner can attend that thing. Okay, so now I'll talk about purely the virtual classroom, that is the synchronous online classroom. And there are different tools available. I'll not mention the tools because every tool has pros and cons, but naturally people have given now these tools like Shindig. If I point out this Shindig, is like just like a physical environment where you can see all the students here, and even they can make a peer review, they can talk in groups, and you can even ask any student to come on the stage and present. So there's a lot of good tools coming which are enabling, and that's why I have believed that this online education, if proper arrangements and tools are available, we could be better off than physical classroom. So mostly I'm using Zoom. I think that has a lot of facilities like breakout rooms. You can break make the groups and make a group discussion. So all kind of environment which exists in the physical environment can be done with the help of these tools. So other tools I like Big Blue Button, which is a free tool, and other tools are also there. And naturally, MS Team, Microsoft Team is another good option for conducting an online class. Okay, this research I did last summer, and basically we distributed the class in two groups. One was in physical arrangement, and one was subjected to different video conference tools. And we really experimented. And you could see that these are the features. These are some of the features we were really focusing on, that how they are collaborating, what is their participation, and all that. So all these parameters were measured. And actually what we did, we distributed half of the student to physical class, and I conducted the class in the physical environment, and half of the students were virtual. They were sitting on their computers and taking those classes. And after the class, basically we took a quiz to check their learning. And we found that, both were equally good. The virtual students were more excited, and they were learning more because they were focusing on the one screen only. And they could interact, they can raise hand, they can ask questions. And that was very, very useful experiment I did last summer. So from the instructor point of view, naturally we found that all tools are best, and naturally the Zoom is adding more functionalities, and is giving you an active learning, which is required for the student engagement. And naturally, you can adapt your lecture according to the student's requirements. So real-time asynchronous lecture has this advantage also. Okay, let's talk about quickly the best practices. I can guide you. You can take more, you can always, you are most welcome to take any points later also. So this is how I conduct the classes, and this is a brief points where I can say. So when I start the class, basically I don't start the class with direct lecture. I start a bridging thing, right? I bridge the lecture and I talk about 5 minutes about different points, their understanding and their interest and all that. And then I basically introduce the topic and clearly define the learning outcomes of the lecture, that after going through this lecture, what we are going to learn. And then explain the concept with examples. And mostly the examples are, in par with the real world problems, real world examples, so that they can correlate the theory and the practical. So like the use of the pen input, like I'm using iPad, so I can point out anything, I can write over it, right? I can write with different colors and highlight different things, right? And this way, it's very, very interactive. Students can understand. I can point out different diagrams. I can draw diagrams very easily. So this way, students interact very easily with me, and they can understand what's going on. So this screen sharing and pen input is like sharing the whiteboard. You can write over the presentation. Even you can share iPad screen fully with your students, and you can do all kind of simulations and other scientific thing which is possible through computer, which is not possible with the whiteboard. So I generally encourage questions from the students. I've given the liberty to them to ask maximum questions. If they don't ask, I ask the questions to get them engaged. And I use another technique that's called the knowledge by discovery. And before I explain a new concept, I ask their opinion, so that their brains start working and they are curious about that new knowledge. And when they give their own ideas and then I tell them, they absorb the new ideas very quickly. So naturally, we keep an eye on the student attendance and presence, how they are engaged. And if actually all the cameras are switched on, and then even in the online environment also, we can really have this concept going. So we can even conduct the group work through breakout rooms, which is available in some of the good softwares. So then if you see, I give practice drills also. If I make them understand what is there, then I give practice drills. And even the best part of the online thing is that they can share their screens, their notebooks, and they can share on the whiteboard. They can, from sitting in home, they can write on the whiteboard and do many things. I normally take some polls also on certain questions, or check their understanding. So with online education, student can interact directly with the instructor by raising hand, or through chat. They can enhance the learning experience. So it's basically, and at the end of the lecture, basically, I give all the learning and summarize the lecture. So this was all what practice I do, and I found that it's very, very effective. So basically, the synchronous model or the online model is students have active learning, and the analytics, basically, that's the measuring the student learning is an important thing. These days, the research focus is not on how you deliver the lecture by the instructor. It is totally, the focus is on active learning of the student, what student receives and what knowledge he has gained. So, and there are indirect methods for measuring that through analytics. And I also engage the students in classroom, off the classroom, through social media. I made groups in Telegram. Sometimes I make a group on Facebook, because most of the students, we have to tap the channel on which students are there. And we have discussion forums also, very popular, like piazza.com, where students can, I initiate a question or student can initiate a discussion, and the whole class is involved in that discussion. And that's really a useful thing. Okay, lastly, I conclude my presentation here. So if you see, synchronous mode to me is the best part, and because it provides an interactive, involving, and two-way communication between students and teachers. Naturally, we are following the hybrid model. That is, that we are doing the synchronous teaching, and the recording of the teaching is shared on LMS or MS Teams, so that they can download that video, and then they can recap their lesson. And naturally, LMS has a good power of conducting quizzes and assignments, and we can make best use of our LMS. And naturally, quality of virtual education is improving with the use of technology. Sorry, I wanted to have a very, very interactive session with you, but due to limited time and basically I couldn't take the questions. I wish I would have taken your question and answer your questions. You know, I'm not getting some live chat here on this, otherwise it would have been possible. So you can always interact with me through email. I'll just write down the email again. So anybody has any question, you can just write, and I'll be happy to answer that. So let me write down my email again here, Nasir M15 at gmail.com. Or you can, if you are from NUST, you can approach me through nasir.mahmood at seeks.edu.pk. So I hope that this online webinar went very well. But initially I had a little problem because of the electricity. So I apologize for that, and hopefully anybody want to interact more with me can interact through email with me, and I'll be happy to answer any question. Okay, thank you very much. I just end my presentation. Thanks a lot.